I think it's kind of cool to have a villain of baseball that everybody shoots after. The Dodgers have a 3-game losing streak. It's going to be the sky is falling for those guys.
Let's talk about some technology. So, automated balls and strike system. What's been the overall response to the experiment this year in spring training, and what have you guys heard from the players? Bob, I'll have you go first.
It's been pretty positive. It's not the true ABS system. The umpires are still calling balls and strikes, but you can challenge. You can challenge, 2 times a game. So far, it's been very favorable. It's been very quick. In the minor leagues, they said they average 17 seconds. This is averaging less than 10 seconds. But it's funny. Some managers, like Greg Counts of the Cubs, want nothing to do with it right now. Terry Francona of Cincinnati Reds told the players, you're not challenging. They pretty much said, let's don't waste our time on this until it comes into effect. But it's coming. It's coming next year.
Yeah, it's kind of a point of levity right now because people know it's not coming in, so they're kind of having some fun with it. Anthony Volpe of the Yankees was talking about how he was going to give his teammate Ben Rice a hard time for messing up the response time and all that kind of stuff. Max Scherzer, one of the veterans in Florida, has really he's always a little salty. He came out a little strongly against it. Yeah, it's really just in workshop mode right now, and it's kind of fun in games. But I think once it does get approved, and as Bob mentioned, 2026 certainly seems pretty inevitable. I think you'll start to see guys get a little more serious about it and talk strategy because you don't want to burn your challenges and lose them in, say, the 4th inning when you might really need it in the 8th or 9th inning in a really key situation.
So, Gabe, let's talk about Paul Skenes. You were on hand at Pirate Spring Training, got to hear him talk. So, what were some of the things that you took away from him and his expectations he has for himself here in 2025?
Yeah, it's very impressive just because he's talking about being more pitch efficient, talking about getting outs with fewer pitches, and not necessarily not striking guys out, but not falling down in counts 1-0 and 2-0, but like establishing the strike zone early and putting guys away. And it's funny because he was pretty good last year. You're talking about a guy who was 22 years old, and in 16 of his 23 starts, he completed at least 6 innings, got into the 7th, 8th inning. He really was pretty strong at that already. And then he's working on a pair of new pitches, a cutter and a 2-seam fastball, which maybe that's just for show. Maybe that's just to put something in the hitters' heads because his 3-pitch mix right now, fastball, splinker, as they call it, and his slider are really pretty tremendous. So you're talking about a really intelligent player, a young player who knows what to do to get better. And it's a little scary to see how much better he can be. And it seems extremely realistic that he could make that leap from Rookie of the Year to Cy Young in just his 2nd year.
Red Sox made a big splash in free agency by signing Alex Bregman. And Bob, you said recently that this move shows that the team is once again acting like a big market team. We spoke with Johnny Damon, who said that this move takes Boston from being a 75-win team to being a playoff contender. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so it's only a playoff contender, and finally spending a little bit like the Yankees, like the Red Sox used to. They have a great farm system, but you can't sit back and rely on it because who knows who it turns out. If you have 10 great prospects, maybe 6 or 7 really pan out. But yeah, they're knocking the door. I think they kind of vaulted past Baltimore Orioles as far as being the runner-up in that division. But yeah, Bregman will help. And, I think Rafael Devers, the controversy, will go away. He wants to stay at 3rd, which is fine. It won't pop up unless he starts making a lot of errors. And Bregman has told people all winter long, I want to play second base for the Red Sox. So he's fine at playing second base. So, yeah, it should be a fun season. I think people in New England are excited once they get him at the Red Sox.
It's hard to not feel kind of bad for the Athletics and the Rays, who are going to be playing at minor league fields this year. Bob, you were at the A's spring training recently. What's the vibe like right now amongst the players as they head into this unconventional season ahead of them?
They're kind of excited about it. A group of them went to Sacramento, caught a Kings game, and they got a standing ovation and then a hero's welcome. People are excited. They should sell out every game, just like in Tampa, and they're going to use it to their home field advantage because they know teams coming in are going to complain. First, hey, we're going to Sacramento. We're not going to the Bay Area. And really, we got to play the minor league ballpark. So it's a 2-level clubhouse for them. Trouble is, it's in center field, so you got to whack through the field to get there, almost like the old Candlestick Park days in San Francisco.
It is really interesting, the contrast between the A's and Rays, because the A's it's kind of a situation of their own creation. With the Rays, it's scrambling after a natural disaster. That region is still coming back from Hurricanes Helene and Milton back in September. And, they were literally homeless. The Yankees were nice enough to let them use that for 1 year. The city of St. Petersburg thinks that they will have Tropicana Field repaired by the 2026 season, which would be great. The longer term future, really interesting. Rays owner Stuart Sternberg has until March 31st to decide if he wants to commit $1 billion plus to a massive stadium development that was going to secure the Rays' future, 30 years past the end of their lease in 2027. Hopefully, by the end of March, we'll have some clarity on it one way or another, because Rays fans and the Tampa Bay area are really kind of burned out on going back to the drawing board and worried about a new stadium, whether he'll sell to an out-of-town investor. All those things are still in play, but right now the Rays hold the cards in terms of whether they want to put their chips in on this big stadium project.
So doing a little research the other day, looking at the early odds for the World Series winner in 2025, obviously the Dodgers are a heavy favorite at plus 225. But then there's only the Yankees and the Braves that show up at less than plus 1,000 to win it, which begs the question of whether Major League Baseball is becoming too top heavy and lacking parity. So Bob and Gabe, this is both a question for you. So I'll start with you, Bob. Do you think that the league has a problem on its hands, or are you like, hey, it is what it is?
I think it is what it is. I don't think they have a problem, at least not yet. I mean, we talked about the Yankees back in the day. Hey, they're outspinning everybody on the George Steinbrenner days. Hey, baseball survived. I think it's kind of cool to have a villain of baseball that everybody shoots after. The Dodgers have a 3-game losing streak. It's going to be the sky is falling for those guys. And hey, they were lucky to win the World Series last year. They should have got beat by the Padres the first round, and they'll tell you that. So anything can happen in the postseason. Everybody's focusing on the Dodgers with the big payroll, all the stars. They look at a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks. Their first 4 starters can certainly beat the Dodgers in a short series. So I think it makes it fun.
Yeah, I think to Bob's point, you do need to have the guys in the black hats. For so many years, it was the Yankees, and now it's the Dodgers. But the Dodgers have really earned this position. It's been about a 12-year buildup since their new ownership bought the team. They stayed under the luxury tax for several years and waited, for when the time was right to strike, while building up their player development apparatus. So they're really firing on all cylinders and have become the envy of baseball, even if fans of smaller market teams kind of chafe against all of that. But yeah, it's great to have dominant teams. It's great to have bad guys to shoot for. And again, it's you never know who's going to do it in October. So it does create good theater. And I think it kind of behooves Major League Baseball to have these superstars like Juan Soto, where he has this major destination and it's a big deal. And then everybody's going to take a run at him because it guarantees nothing. So it should be a fun season that way, definitely.